Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I am Jason, your host. It's Thursday. I know it's Thursday because I asked my assistant. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's 5:49 a.m. and it's the start of a new portion of my life. You see, even when my mum had dementia, she had already set up things that I was always protected. She knew I was disabled. She knew I had issues. She knew I was special, and more than just the special that all parents seem to think of their children. And so she set things in place, money and budget systems and that, so that there was always a backup for me. With the final writing and signing of all the bits and pieces to do with Mum's passing and that's ended. So this is like a state of the tech, state of the finances, state of everything. Okay, so while I do have a backup, I do have friends who will help me out in certain situations, I shouldn't rely on that. It's not a good thing to rely on. It's wonderful to have friends, it's wonderful to have people who will back you up, both financially and otherwise, but you should be able to deal with it yourself if you can. Even with the cost of living crisis and everything else. So let's get into this. I'm in a good position here. You got to remember, technology is not about, it's not a hobby, it's not a niche, it's not a luxury for me. It is part of my coping strategy, and I always need to make sure that I've always got technology and I've always got an eye on the next technology, because the human mind, the human brain adapts and changes. So using technology as part of my treatment, as part of my ongoing fight with my brain and coping strategies, means that I've always got to make sure that I have layers and layers. For example, retro technology is wonderful for me. It allows my brain to go back to some time in my past when things were simpler. If things are becoming overwhelming for me, if my ADHD is kicking in, or my bipolar, or some part of me is just going in a very bad direction, then turning on a retro system and connecting back with a time in my life when things were simpler, my childhood there, is a very, very good therapy. Now my primary one, and the one that I use 99% of the time now, is this arcade machine, this Legends Ultimate arcade machine. 5 minutes on that playing Space Invaders is just takes me to a place where I'm like 9 years old and down at Tenby, the first time I ever saw a Space Invaders machine with family. It was in a chip shop. I can still remember the smell of the chips being cooked in the fryer and the sound of the people around me when I first sat down, because I had a stool with it, with Space Invaders. I can take my brain to that place and let myself deal with whatever's happening. Take a breath. So I have that. I have one of my Steam Decks set up as a retro console. I have the 2001 Platinum PC here, the retro PC with Windows 98 SE. I have an Xbox 360, a PS2, an Atari 2600, an Amiga 500, an Amiga 1200, and an original Xbox. I have all of those layers. If this fails, I can put something while it's being fixed. I can always have a backup. So that's how my life has to be. Everything has to have so many backups. I've got a computer downstairs in the kitchen that can take over everything that I do here. Everything that I do here. I have a backup for my NAS and it's working really well. And I have multiple computer backups. Now, there's a couple of changes and purchases that I'm going to make in my future, and these are going to be funded by me. Just basically, I've got well, by the end of next month I will be officially debt free. Now, what does that mean? Well, if those that know that I did videos about IVAs and that in the past I ranked up about £12,000 worth of debt, mainly credit cards and loans. This was while Paola was alive. This is quite a while ago now. But what happened was this. When we knew Paola was dying, I had set it in motion years before. I had basically built up my credit rating to the point where I knew I could get lots of, if it come to it, I could get lots of credit cards. I had played the system, I had set it all up so I could get, so I ended up with about £12,000 worth of thingy. And the last year of Paola's life, when we knew she was going to pass away, I burned through all that credit, grabbed all the money, and made sure that Paola had pretty much the best last year of her life she could. I don't regret that in any way, shape or form. And when she passed away, I could have pleaded thingy, I could have defaulted on those thingies, but to me, paying them off became important. That money had been used to look after Paola. That money had been used to help her go out to wildlife parks and to see and do things. And if I just tried to skip on that money, skip on that debt, it would not have felt good for me. So I couldn't pay them off properly because I was on benefits, and I still am on benefits. So I took up the role of, basically I paid a small amount every single month, basically just covering the actual interest. Now, when Trevor or whoever screwed up my mum's, used to pull my mum's money and trashed all my mum's stuff, well, my option was, I always thought, okay, I'll pay a little bit off, I'll keep them going, and then when my mum passes away, I'll use the money to pay them off. But I knew that there wouldn't be anywhere near as much money after my mum passed away because of what was done to the house, and because we had to use what would have been my inheritance to repair the base foundation of the house. I don't regret that. The only person who lost out was me. So I am very lucky that when the estate was sorted out completely for my mum, there was some money, not a lot of money. And that money was, first of all, as the estate, looking after the estate for my mum, as the executor of the will and the probate and all that, I paid. There was a chunk that went out straight away to pay not only the solicitor's fees and bills and that, but the extra funeral costs and wake costs and the stuff that my friends helped me out with between the time of my mum's funeral and the time of the estate being all sorted. It takes months and months for that to be sorted. So that took a big chunk of it, and there was enough money left over to pay off my IVA, my independent voluntary agreement. Officially, I will be completely and totally out of debt once the IVA is completely removed in about a month's time. That is a massive load off my mind. So, as a core foundation, I'm starting from a very good place. I am so grateful to my mum for this house and for that. It's funny, it's almost like there was the exact amount of money to just about cover everything. No more. No buying new computers, no buying big AI machines, no buying technology or anything like that. But it was just enough. There was one item bought, and that was a Class 2 mobility scooter, £864. And that was okayed by the actual IVA people, because an IVA is a legal thing. I mean, when you sign up for an IVA and they reduce your debts and they start to pay off those debts for you, and you'll be completely clear within 5 or 6 years of debt and everything sorted. When you sign that up, you have to sign up that if any windfall cash comes into your hands, that it goes to the IVA. You don't get to keep that until it's paid off. So this was a legal thing that I had to do. I spent the last week talking to everyone from financial to advisors, to thinking and sorting it all out. That's what I've been talking about doing. So it's all done now. So I don't have a problem with that. I am now at a core foundation, which means my house bills and everything, I have everything under control, even with cost of living. So that's the situation that we find ourselves in now. So there's a couple of other things that are going to go. First of all, as you know, I have a lot of contract phones. I have over the years. I've always loved them. These contracts have given me access to tablets and phones and stuff and even laptops that I would normally not do or not have because the cost. And it really did feed into my ADHD side of shiny, shiny, shiny. Want the tech. But thankfully, the major people in the UK film contracting have, how can I put it, taken that away from me. Not in a way that I can't, but it's actually worked really well for me, because since this is the Samsung S20 FE. In my opinion, the best Samsung phone they ever made. Up until the Samsung S20 FE, I, through contracts, phones, bought every single Samsung flagship. My wife loved them too. She always had the flagships. But after the S20 FE, they stopped you being able to use these little things inside them. These little micro SDs. They took away the micro SD slot and started charging you massive amounts for extra memory. Now I know we're supposed to go towards fucking cloud and everything like that, but I don't trust the cloud. I want the stuff on my actual fucking phone. I want the ability to put it on the phone. And so every couple of months, my contract people say, do you want a new phone? I mean, we've got these available. We can give you this really good deal because you've been with us for like 10 fucking years. And they give me some really good deals. Bloody hell. I've had some amazing deals. Most of my Samsung phone tech and buds and everything, tablets have come through amazing deals. But all I have to say to them is, do you have a phone, flagship phone, that can have a micro SD in? Why, that 1 terabyte micro SD there, that can go into this or any phone. I have one in here. I can carry around pretty much a complete copy of my life. And it is a wonderful coping strategy to know that if my house burnt down, I would still have something to restart and all my stuff here. And I wouldn't have to rely on the cloud. Stuff like CloudStrike and stuff like that should prove to us just how fucked up and reliant we are on technology out there that we don't control in any way. Fuck that shit. I'm not doing it. So that's when I pretty much fell out of love with thingy. I went over to Google Pixels until I found out that fucking Google Pixels don't have the fucking micro SD slot. And so on. Now at the moment my Samsung has a crack, and a crack in the corner, and unfortunately that crack in the corner is spreading a little bit. I'm going to have a new protector for it, but the screen is actually that corner of the screen is actually not working now. Not wonderful. But I have my Fairphone 5. But I still have a problem. The Fairphone 5 is wonderful. I love the idea of it and everything like that. But its antenna is not as strong or powerful as this. In my house, which is heavily bricked and that, I have missed phone calls on my Fairphone. My Fairphone was my primary phone. I've had to take the mic, put it back in here, because this can pick up. This will pick up calls in here on my desk. The Fairphone won't, because of the brick walls and the brick internal walls and that. It's pretty much a dead zone. It has to have a very good. So I may actually have to get another, either replace the screen, which is an absolute pain in the ass. You basically I'm not looking for, might have to do that, or I might have to look for other options. So that's something in my future that I'll have to save up for. But computer-wise, tech-wise, the first test of my new budgeting, because I'm going to have to start budgeting an amount of money each month, putting it aside, and then use it to pay for something, just like everybody else has to. It's hard for someone with ADHD. It's hard for someone with these situations. I mean, I may even work out something with one of my friends, and so that I can put the money a little bit out of my reach that I'm saving up. But at the same time, I don't really want, I should be able to do it myself. I have a savings account. Of course, my savings account has 4 pence in it. It's just a basic one that's connected to my main account. And I can just transfer stuff to it from my main account. So my first goal is a new graphics card. You may think, oh, you've got other things. Why would you go for that? Because I need to see whether it'll work. So I'm going to get hold of a 4080 Super. The Azeal Tough 4080 Super. That is around £1,049. Now normally, the way I would do it is to sell tech. But when you do that, you have diminishing returns. As you sell the tech, you never get as much as you bought it for, and therefore the amount of assets you have slowly go down. I need to start building up my assets. Over the last few years, I have sold so much stuff that would have been better off kept. And so I am going to budget and save up. Because the good thing is that a lot of my contract phones are just about going out of contract completely. And so the first thing I save up for, and the money that I save from my IVA, because I won't be have to pay per month, and the money I save from my contract phones contracts ending, I will be able to move forward with this in a reasonable way. I'm very lucky to be able to do this. So saving up for the future is not an easy thing for a person who's autistic or has ADHD and that to do. We very much live in the moment. So for me to save up, I need to get a hook in place and a coping strategy, set of coping strategies specifically to do with saving money. I can't save a lot of money because I'm on benefits, but I can save a certain amount of money and then use that money up to thingy. So this will be the first test without selling something, because my house is like, it's a tech conveyor belt. Basically, I've got a 4070 Ti, which is okay, but it's only got 12 gigabytes, and 16 gigabytes is the sweet spot. And I won't go for a 4090 again, but the 4080 Super is a really nice card. And I know the 50 series is coming out next year, but I'm not looking, I may actually skip that entire series. Well, when they finally come out, I've heard some rumours that I don't like to do with them. So the 4080 Super will go in this computer. This 4070 Ti will go down into the eGPU enclosure inside the kitchen for the computer there. So that will have a 4070 Ti in there. This one over here, the AI will stick with the 4060 Ti because it's working really well with the AI. But having that extra stuff would be wonderful. What are you doing, Zaki? You want to go downstairs and have food, don't you? So this is the new part of my life. What are you doing? You want to come here? Come on. So I'm just going to pause this. Yep. Doggy needed to go out. Feels like it's a new stage in my life. It'll come with challenges. My brain is focused on something, and underneath my camera there's a cable for my mouse leading to my computer, and there's a little tiny bit of dust on it, and a little bit of dust is being moved from side to side by the cooling fans for my PC, and that's pretty much taken my entire attention. I'm in a good position now. I'm luckier than most. I will always have to create layer upon layer upon layer upon layer to make sure I keep in this position. Problems and challenges will come. But yeah. I miss my mum. I still miss Paola. I work best when I'm actually doing stuff for someone else. It's one of the only ways that I've been able to. It's like when Brit Monkey comes to visit, my friend from Discord. When he's in the house, I can function. So I still have all my weird quirks and weirdness, but I can function because I'm externalizing some of the focus. So yeah, I hope you're all having a good day. This was a long one, my apology, but just the state of the situation at the moment for me.